Hi, in this video I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to show you a new product that we've got in our web shop. It's just arrived from Australia and it's the Stitch Ezi embroidery frame. So this embroidery frame is on a stand and it tilts and you can turn it all of the way around, and it really holds the fabric really ever so well. And it's designed by Raj Mahal in Australia and manufactured by them. And of course, if you don't know, we stock their art silk threads as well, which are lovely threads. So it was really a natural thing to move on to this. So without further ado, I'm going to show you how this works and all of its lovely benefits. And so let's get started. Your Ezi frame will come to you flat, but already set up for ordinary embroidery on fabric. It's all right, that little dot's going to bother me when I'm doing the editing later. Right, so basically the frame sits nice and tight and the top rotates. Now this means that you're able to access the back of your work very, very easily. But also with these wing nuts down here, you can angle to the position that is best for you to work at. So if you want them more forward because you're sitting at a table, or alternatively with it on your lap, which I've been using it on my lap because I always do my embroidery in the front room, it seems. But it frees you up for two-handed embroidery, which is particularly nice if you're working, you know, really fancy stitches and so on. So basically that is it. So how do we put the fabric onto it? First, you take out the inner ring. Now, whilst this is happening, I can show you, hopefully, the light will pick it up. There is a texture along the inside of this large outer ring and along the inner ring, and that helps to grip your fabric, and it's fantastic. It really works well, like binding a wooden embroidery hoop. So it gives you a really nice tension. Now how you set up is you place your inner frame onto your table and you pop your fabric over it. Okay, I'm using something really light because I wanted to show you how the tension can work on it as well. They recommend that if you are right-handed, you do this with the wing nut at 10 o'clock. And if you are left-handed, that you do this with the wing nut at 2 o'clock. And that's basically so that the nut is on the side that you want, so that when you're tightening up, it's easy for you when you're actually working. So it does make sense. So get that to an angle that it's nice, place it over the top of the fabric. You can tighten off the fabric as you need to, a little bit at this point. You can see that's got a nice tension on that, even though it's a very fine cotton. And then we can bring it up, and then voila, ready to go. I can do a little bit more tightening, and I can tighten up the wing nut as required. You don't need to over tighten this, and you shouldn't over tighten this. You don't want things sort of warping while you're working. And there it is, ready for two-handed embroidery, whether ready for one-handed embroidery. I mean, let's face it, holding on to a hoop all of the time is really tiring for your hands. I'm going to show you how to then take the whole thing apart and put it back together again if you're more interested in doing embroidery on thick items such as baby blankets, or if you want to do hand quilting. It does require tools in order to do this. You have full instructions that come with the frame, and I would advise you to keep them. And because these are set up originally for you, they are quite tight. So if you haven't got a lot of strength in your hands, get somebody to help you out with it. You're going to need a spanner and a Phillips head screwdriver to get these out and tighten them up and get the tension right when you put it back together again. But as I say, it is very tight, particularly the first time. I personally wouldn't necessarily go back and forth like every day or whatever, but the opportunity is there for you to choose which method you like best. Oh, and one other thing that I didn't mention, if you're doing bead embroidery, you could always embroider from the inside. So therefore your beads will be held here if you drop any, and you can still work and get to the back. Because all of these, the way that it's you've not got the screws or any screws on the inside here. When you turn it over, you've not got anything to snag and catch. So if you choose to use this side as your to do your work, that's really great because you're not going to be throwing beads all over your living room floor. Okay, so I will go ahead and take apart and come back to you and show you how to put it all back together again. Right, so here it is unassembled, and now we've got to put it back together for thicker materials, for blankets or so on. Obviously smaller blankets, you're not going to do something massive on this, but great if you want to add embroidery onto baby blankets or do a little bit of small quilting, particularly on hand quilting on pieces, or you know, bags or something like that. So what we need to do now is, the first thing we do is we're going to set up the base. It'll just give us something a little bit more sturdy. Now when we're setting up the base, you'll see that the hole on the base is actually off center, okay? And what you need to do is, when you set it up, is you need to make sure that this is upright. So basically whatever will go on the table has that bigger space, okay? So the hole is towards the top. Then you need to actually pop your supports in, okay? So your support goes in. And this one's the easy one because obviously it's the wing nuts. But what actually needs to happen is that this time round, it needs to be on the inside of the ring, okay? So we'll pop in first the bolt, then the washer. Take it through, another washer. Split washer, spring washer, I don't know, I'm sure somebody will tell me the correct name for it. Okay, and we'll go ahead and we'll do the other side as well. And we'll even try to get it right. 1, 2. Okay. Now this time, whereas for fine embroidery, this one was attached to the frame, this time around, we're going to attach the plain one to the frame, okay? And again, the frame needs to be on the inside. This will stop any interference with that thicker fabric. Now for this, we want the flat screw along here. We don't need the washer on now. We want the flat screw. Then we want the ring. And then we want a washer. Still doing it wrong. Right, let's get it right. The ring, then the washer, then the arm, then another washer, and then the nut. And of course this, as with the other, will need to be tightened up with the tools. So you'll forgive me if I turn this so that I can use my right hand to do the actual tightening. Turn it like this so it stays straighter, because you don't want it to go on curved. Okay, that's starting to tighten up. Let's see if I can do it a little bit better if that's flat. Harder to hold the better. I'll tighten it up in a minute when I get the other side on as well. So again, for this side, we start again the same thing. The bolt, the ring, there we go. There it goes. Bolt, the ring, the washer, another washer, there we go. That's straightened out nicely. Okay, so that still can move. We'll tighten that up a little bit more if we, I think that one needs just a little bit more tightening up. but you can adjust this according to your preferences. But you should never tighten anything too much so that the plastic actually moves. Okay, so that's set up. Now what I'm going to do is, just to illustrate, because I haven't got a blanket here, is 4 layers of a linen fabric. Okay, so basically with this you lay it over the top, then you can pop your frame over, loosening that to accommodate, and then tightening up again so that that is nice and taut. And so you see that gives you, now that's 4 layers of fabric, so you can go through and actually do some stitching on those 4 layers of fabric, use it as a quilting, use it for quilting or embroidery on baby blankets and things like that. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate your company, and do please click subscribe and hit that icon bell to get notified when I upload a new video. The videos here are something else that you might enjoy from the channel. There's quite a few, and I love hearing your comments as well. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye.